worldwide war against crime, there are men and women trained to sink their own identity in the international underworld. They work alone, in danger and in shadow, unrecognized by friend and enemy alike. They are the operators of the almost legendary Ghost Squad.
Empty. Do you mind?
Help yourself.
Thank you. You will have to do something about Burton. He's drinking too much, talking too much. Sooner or later, you'll make a mistake.
I beg your pardon?
And the deliveries are not up to standard. Guns that don't fire, bullets that won't fit.
Do I know you?
No, but you know the people who sent me.
Oh, I'm...
Your friends in Ceylon.
Wait, you're confusing me with somebody else.
No, you are Sir Charles Thorne, chairman of British Eastern Minerals Company, right?
Yes?
Well, your support is not bought very cheaply, so we feel entitled to a little service. Remember, if we lose this war, you could lose your mining concession.
I haven't the faintest idea what you're talking about.
Oh, no, of course not. Oh, I admire your discretion and your liking for clean hands. But if you wish to keep them clean, do something about Burton.
Just who are you?
Burma, Siam, Malaya, Indonesia, Ceylon. It's the biggest chessboard in the world, and we can't afford any false moves. This man Burton, have you ever met him?
No. Of course, the BMC is a very large organization. I didn't even know he was with the company until I checked the records. Apparently, he had a job in our Ceylon tin mines before the war and drank himself out of it.
But now he's back in the fold.
Simple case of necessity. You see, the Japanese forces destroyed our mines before they left. And when we decided to reopen them again a few months ago, we looked around for someone who knew the operation.
And Burton was all you could get?
Well, the job is dangerous enough without risking somebody else's bullets in a civil war.
Yes, the Civil War. Ceylon must be the shakiest ballot box democracy in existence. And it may not exist much longer.
No, indeed. Utok's rebels seem to be calling the tune.
The country was made for guerrilla warfare. Officially, of course, we're not involved. If a Ceylonese politician tries to set himself up as a dictator, well, it's a family quarrel and we can't interfere. But if a British company supplies him with arms...
Yes, that's what this person seemed to imply. But I just can't believe it.
Sir Charles, if you couldn't believe it, you wouldn't be here. The question is, why do you believe it?
Well, our mining concessions are due for renewal, and we're having some trouble agreeing terms with the Ceylonese government. We make a royalty payment on every ton of oil we extract.
And they want it increased?
Well, substantially. They threaten to lease the mines elsewhere. And there's plenty of bidders, believe me. And that would mean a serious loss to the company. Of course, there are certain directors on the board of British Eastern who feel we could make a better deal with Utok. I know. And I don't want to see the company involved in any scandal.
The matter's more serious than that. Ceylon is at the moment an uncommitted nation, which means they're playing both ends against the center. If they suspected that this country was backing a revolution, well, you know as well as I do, they have other friends they can turn to. Yes, we shall have to follow this up, and we'll need your cooperation.
Well, if there's anything at all I can do.
And there will be. In the meantime, don't discuss this with anyone.
No, of course not.
We'll be in touch.
Goodbye and thank you.
Goodbye.
Excuse me, sir, but I've got Mr. Craig and the new person in my office.
Well, bring him in.
Will you come in, please, Nick?
This is the new boy, Tony Miller.
How do you do? I'm Geoffrey Stocks, Andrew Wilson's replacement. No doubt Craig's put you in the picture.
He has. How does Andrew find the Foreign Office?
Well, he hasn't sent any postcards wishing we were there.
Well, I'll do better from Switzerland. My 2 weeks leave. It started 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, we've got a job on.
You should have said so 10 minutes ago.
Well, drop us a card.
I will. Good luck. Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye. Have a good time. I see you lived in the Far East for some time.
Well, long enough to find my way around.
Have you ever been to Ceylon? How long have you been with British Eastern?
6 years.
In what capacity?
Production planner.
Methods?
Pontoon dredging at Bilitong, shaft mining in Ceylon.
Company operations and locations?
Bauxite in Bintan, nickel in Tolly Tolly, manganese in the Philippines, tin in Ceylon and Malaya, oysters in Colchester, haggis in Loch Lomond, coals in Newcastle.
All right, all right. You've done your homework, your cover should stand up.
I could have used another week. I don't know enough about the technical side.
It doesn't matter about that. You're an executive from head office. The less you know about the actual job, the more impressive you'll be. They'll expect ignorance. Right, Miss Carver.
Passport with visas, authorization, medical certificates.
Good. Now, Sir Charles has told them to expect you, and they'll have no reason to be suspicious. But walk carefully. Once you've established a connection between British Eastern and the rebels, come home. Any questions?
Nope. I'll probably think up plenty once I'm on the plane.
Yeah, well, you better think up the answers, too. Right, now let's go over the whole story once more.
Yes, sir. I'm a company executive on a fact-finding tour. I'm preparing a personal report for Sir Charles. I've been to Perak and Celebes. I'm going on to Bintan after I leave Ceylon. The flight was uneventful, and I didn't think up any questions. Burton should have met me at the airport. He didn't, and I wondered why.
Miller?
That's right. You'll be Mr. Burton? I expected someone to meet me at the airport.
Well, I was on my way, but I got held up. You know, some urgent business.
Well, if your business is nearly finished.
It's medicine. Good for malaria.
Is it?
All right, it's good for beriberi, cholera, hookworm. You name it, I've had it.
I shan't have much time in Ceylon. The company wants...
I read the letter. We can start for the mine as soon as you like.
Right. I'll be with you as soon as I've checked my luggage.
Hello. I thought you'd have come to the airport to meet the new boy. I saw the company booking among the flight records. Will he be working out at the mine?
Oh, he's just passing through. Head office is full of soft-handed young men with nothing to do. When they get tired of looking at their faces, they send them out here to see how we're behaving. In 3 weeks, he'll be back behind his desk thinking he knows everything it's taken me 20 years to learn.
If he has friends in high places, you'd better mind your manners.
If British Eastern could find a replacement, I wouldn't be here. So why should I worry?
Now, that's what I call a room with character. The walls are peeling off the paper.
On such short notice, I couldn't book anything better.
When you've lived here as long as I have, you come to love it for its faults.
That's one way of putting it. Didn't I see you at the airport?
I work there. I'm Sarah Van Niekerk. I'm an interpreter.
Tony Miller.
The Land Rover's outside. Let's get started.
Well, don't we pick up a military escort?
What?
Well, if we're going up country.
The mine's only 5 miles from here.
The way I heard it, that's 5 miles inside Utok's territory.
The guerrillas don't attack company vehicles.
Don't they? Why not?
Well, because they don't have any quarrel with us. I'll get us started.
I'll probably see you later, Miss Van Niekerk.
Probably. And the name's Sarah.
This is my assistant, Hayato. Hayato meets Mr. Miller.
Mr. Miller, I hope you had a pleasant journey. Our last 5 miles were a bit of an anticlimax. I'd heard the jungle was crawling with guerrillas, but we didn't see Hyde and Herod.
But they are there. Only last week they wiped out an army patrol half a mile from here. Very unpredictable people.
They don't seem to worry you.
We must be fatalistic, Mr. Miller. If they come, they come. We cannot run away from our duty.
You see, Miller, we're loyal to the company. Very loyal to the company. Especially me. And they deserve it. Look at the way they've treated me. Hired me, fired me, and then hired me. Of course, there were a few years in between, and nobody else would take the job, but the gesture that counts.
How did you spend those years?
Oh, some in a prison camp. The rest bumming jobs in every stinking little mining operation east of Mandalay. I'd hate to admit to some of the jobs I've done. But now I'm a loyal company servant. Let's drink to British Eastern.
Mr. Burton is a man of many sorrows.
Well, that's one way of putting it. Look, I don't mind taking my chances with a gorilla bullet, but not on his driver. Any transport I can borrow.
Yes, we have another Land Rover.
Fine. Now I'd like a rundown on how the work's going.
I have all the information here. This is a plan of the east section. Number 4 tunnel is completely open, and we're making progress in tunnel number 3. Test bores show an average yield of 3%, but we may have to go down another 100 feet to follow the pipe.
When do you start work on the railway?
Lunchtime, perhaps. There's no urgency until tunnel number 1 and 2 are cleared. At the moment, they're completely blocked.
Right, well, I'll go over those papers later. Right now, I'd like to have a look at the workings.
That will not be necessary.
Why not?
I have given you all the information you need for your report.
Well, I like to see things for myself, so who takes me down the mine?
Nobody here. It's dangerous. We get cave-ins all the time.
Oh, I don't mind the risk.
I do. I'm the one who gets the brickbat from the head office if anything happens to you. They like their executives to come back in one piece. I won't take the responsibility.
Then I will.
Look, I'm in charge of this project.
And I'm answerable to the board of directors.
Now, look
If Mr. Miller is willing to go down the mine at his own risk. But first, a meal has been prepared.
Suits me. Where do I walk?
This way. Straight through. Second left.
Thanks, I'll find it.
Are you mad?
We couldn't have stopped him. Take him down shaft number 3.
What if he wants to see the others?
He won't.
You seen Mr. Burton, man? Mr. Burton. Burton!
Just checking the lighting, sister.
Well, there you are.
They're all set.
Right?
We don't usually profit in mine. When the Japs blasted the shaft, it left a lot of loose rock up top.
How big's the vein?
Oh, it's 30, 40 feet wide. It's mainly primary limestone this far, but we've hit Triassic shales further in.
How long before they start producing?
Hard to say. We followed the pipe along the plane of contact between the granite and the limestone, but it could run out.
Well, something's run out.
Generator's been acting up. No point in us both going back. Wait here and I'll check. Burton!
Some people, Mr. Burton, would describe you as a coward.
Watch me. idea? You saw me going. You knew I was in there. What's the idea? Now, I asked you a question, and you'd better have a good answer.
He doesn't speak English.
He damn nearly killed me. That's the trouble.
He warned you of the danger.
If the roof hadn't started to go, I'd have been in there when this idiot set off a blasting charge.
Blasting! Mr. Miller, I cannot apologize enough. It's these native workmen. Sometimes they misunderstand instructions. Mr. Miller.
What's Burton's excuse?
Mr. Miller, I can...
Where did you get to? I said, where did you get to?
The generator, bearing had seized up. I came to get some oil.
Oil, sure, oil, 80% proof.
No.
I bowled him out, called him a drunken lush, reduced him to an apologetic jelly. It was a good act on both sides. When I walked through that door, I knew from his face he hadn't expected to see me alive again.
Yes, I'll try them. They say every flight's booked. I've got to be in Delhi by tomorrow night. That's right, company business. Urgent company business. I thought maybe you had some pull. Maybe you could fix it. Thanks. Will you call me back? It's urgent. Is Miller gone?
Yes. He had a look at the camp hall. He spoke to some of the workers that he left half an hour ago. He'll be back tomorrow to continue the inspection.
It wasn't my fault.
No?
All right, it was my fault. I've had enough. If Miller comes back tomorrow, he'll
We'll
find...
have to arrange another accident.
I'm not a killer. I don't want to be involved in
The
killing.
guns we supply aren't used for target practice.
No, but I don't have to meet the victims. Talk to them, know them.
That makes a difference. Forgive me, Mr. Button, but you are a most contemptible person.
Maybe. But it's all over now. I've had enough. All I ever wanted was enough money to go home. I've been out here too long. 20 years too long.
And how do you suggest I explain your absence?
But say I've gone to see a specialist in Delhi. I'm a sick man. Anybody can see I'm a sick man. I'll go back to London, open a business maybe. You'll be better off without me. I make mistakes, talk too much when I'm drunk.
True.
In 2 days I could be home in England. Home. Fields, hedges, soft rain. I've seen too many jungles, too much sun.
You get as far as Delhi and you come to rest in the nearest bar.
No.
And you talk. Mr. Burton, you talk. All that money to spend. You'd feel safe. Sooner or later, you begin boasting how you made it.
Oh, I'm leaving. Try to stop me. Oh, you don't try.
The rabbit becomes a tiger. Think about it, Mr. Burton. We'll discuss it later.
Hello? Oh, hello, Sarah. Good. No, it doesn't matter about the connection. A few hours won't matter. Wait, I'll make a note of the flight. Who's there? I said who's there? Who's there?
Hello.
Oh, hello. They told me you'd come back, but you weren't in your room when I knocked.
I thought I'd take in the local nightlife.
There isn't any.
I'll second that. So I've been wandering around the tourist spots. The marketplace, which was closed. The temple, which I couldn't see in the darkness. How do you stand the pace?
Let's sit at a table and I'll tell you.
I'll order something.
Oh, later. I want to talk to you.
Mr. Miller,
Yes?
you'll wait here, please.
Captain Hand? Yes, yes. Huh. Did he show any resistance? Right. Take him to my office. Bring a stretcher. Take him to the mortuary.
Burton was alive when I left the mine. Why would I go back several hours later and shoot him?
I was hoping you would tell me. According to this statement, Mr. Hoyoto and his foreman saw you leaving the bungalow just after they heard the shot. You shot him? In self-defense, perhaps?
I told you I haven't been near the mine tonight. I've been wandering around the town.
So you said, but nobody remembers seeing you. Mr. Miller, with 2 witnesses on our side and no alibi on yours, how do you expect to get... Captain Hand? Yes, yes. Her name? Bring her in immediately. Good evening, Miss Van Nieuwkerk. I understand you have some information for us.
Yes. Your men were making inquiries about Mr. Miller at the hotel. I saw him earlier this evening down at the marketplace.
At what time, please?
Oh, just about 9 o'clock.
About 9 o'clock?
Yes, 9 o'clock exactly. The Jakarta flight takes off then, and it had just passed overhead. I called after Mr. Miller, but he didn't hear me.
I see. Oh, thank you. That will be all. You can go now. According to Hoyoto, Burton was shot at 9 p.m. So, that puts you in the...
Clear?
For the moment. We may need you for further questioning. You're a very lucky man, Mr. Miller.
I was just thinking the same thing myself.
Just a minute. Oh, come in. Excuse me, I'm changing.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Which brings us to the question.
No, I did not see you at the marketplace.
Yes, well, I got that far.
Another question?
How did you know Burton was killed at 9 o'clock?
I heard you shoot him. He was trying to fix a reservation on the first flight out. He put the phone down for a moment. There was a shot, and I heard him cry out. And then you hung up.
You seem pretty sure I killed him.
Who else? I knew for certain when the police arrested you. You know, it wasn't a very subtle way of dealing with the problem. We just wanted Burton replaced.
Yes, well, he decided to argue the point.
Utok appreciates direct methods. Just the same, if you'd collected a murder charge the same day you arrived, it might have shaken his confidence in British Eastern.
Well, I thought I'd got away from the bungalow without being seen. Tell me, why are you involved with the rebels?
An agent at the airport is a valuable asset.
That tells me how, not why.
Oh, the why is quite simple. My father was Dutch, my mother was Ceylonese, and I get the worst of both worlds. I was born here, but I don't belong. I've got to earn my place in this country. And Utok won't forget his friends.
Why don't you just leave?
Like British Eastern, I have an investment in Ceylon nationality, too.
How do you contact Utok?
I walk into the jungle. He finds me soon enough. By the way, the next delivery was promised for the 21st. They're relying on it. I hope Burton's death won't change the arrangement.
No. Same procedure as last time.
When the trucks are loaded, drive north. Stop when you see our signal. And this time, we'd like what we ordered. The last 2 consignments have been faulty.
Oh, the last 2. That would be on the...
The 9th of last month and the 14th of this month.
Yes, well, these goods are pretty hard to come by. We have to take what we can get.
And we have to pay what you ask in advance. Your company doesn't take anything on trust.
Well, we're trusting you, Toke, to renew our mining concessions.
You've no alternative.
True.
Look, I'm late. I hope for your sake the consignment is up to standard. Utok is running out of patience. Good night.
Good night.
British Eastern were in it up to the neck. I coded a cable and sent it off to stock. Next day, I went back to the mine. Hoyoto swamped me with apologies.
Do you understand the position I was in, Mr. Miller? I didn't say it was you. I saw only somebody like you. I had to tell them.
Yes, I understand. It's all been cleared up now. The police are inclined to blame the guerrilla.
Yes. There are many dangerous men in Ceylon.
So I shall be around for a while. There are still a few things I want to look over.
Just as you wish, of course, but...
Oh, I don't mean the tunnels. After yesterday, I decided to develop a little claustrophobia. How's the work coming along?
At the moment, slowly. We're awaiting some new equipment, but it should be here the day after tomorrow.
The 21st.
21st.
Of this month and the 21st of this month.
Yes, all these dates coincide with deliveries of mining equipment to our silent operation. They were shipped in from Japan.
And I'm afraid it's quite certain that somebody in your company is backing the rebels. Our information is that 2 consignments of arms were delivered on the 9th and the 14th, and another lot's expected in 2 days' time on the 21st.
I half expected it, of course, but it still comes as a great shock. I'll make an immediate investigation. I'll get to the bottom of this if it's the last thing I do.
No, it's not that simple, Sir Charles. I should tell you that this whole matter has been discussed at a very high level. It's a delicate business. We're investigating at this end, of course, but that takes time, and we can't afford time.
I don't quite follow.
2 facts. The Ceylonese government know that arms are coming into their country. Burton's death has focused attention on your company.
They say they think he was killed by the rebels.
Well, that's what they say, but do they really think that? Now, it's quite simple, Sir Charles. We must tell them before they find out for themselves. That way, at least, we'll be showing a certain amount of good faith.
But this might jeopardize all the company operations in Ceylon.
I'm sorry. It's a risk you'll have to take.
You're sure your information is reliable?
Yes, completely.
Well.
The ship is docking now, sir.
Right. Again, mining equipment.
Mining equipment? But my information is... Yes, I realize that. But we were given to believe... Yes, all right. Tell the private secretary I'll be there this afternoon. Yes, 2:30. Private secretaries, mining equipment. What's that for?
It's for your ulcer, sir.
I'm a summons from above. Miller has come up with the wrong answers. No, that's not quite right. We've come up with the wrong answers. They went over every inch of that ship as soon as it docked. Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing incriminating unless you Turks fighting his war with pneumatic drills.
Maybe they found out there was going to be a search.
No, the ship was at sea when we passed the information. We've stirred up a hornet's nest to no purpose. Now come the explanations and excuses. Me, the minister, the BMC, Sir Charles, the Ceylonese ambassador. Whitehall's going to be bathed in a ruddy glow of embarrassed faces.
But Miller seems so certain.
Yeah. Yes, he did, didn't he?
Well, code that cable and get it off to him right away.
I'd just returned from the mine when Stock's cable called me. The arms hadn't been delivered, and he wanted to know why. It occurred to me that Oot might be asking the same question. I wondered if the answer lay back at the mine.
Mr. Miller, I didn't expect you back this evening.
I was making out my report, and I ran out of facts, so I'd like to go through your files again.
Of course, such diligence should be encouraged.
That's only half true. I got tired of staring at my hotel ceiling, so I thought I'd come and admire yours for a while, you know. With all due respect to you Ceylonese, this town isn't exactly wide open.
It's a war.
I think they started it just to get some excitement.
It cast a shadow over everything. They were happy people once.
I can't figure out who's fighting who and why.
In this part of the world, Mr. Miller, things aren't just black and white. There are certain racial tensions.
Whose side is Oot on?
His own?
He has a big fan club.
He has united the anti-government elements. Add to that the bandit groups who don't like anybody, and you have a big fan club.
And whose side are you on?
I? Neutral. Oh. Now, if you will excuse me, Mr. Miller, as I get older, the days grow longer.
Sure. Don't let me keep you up. Oh, has the new equipment arrived yet?
Yeah, yesterday. Some drills, a new pump, some spare parts for the generator, all unpacked, ready for use.
That's quick work.
Well, the miners like to get at the crates. They use them for firewood.
5,000 square miles of jungle, and they're short of firewood?
It's easier to break up a crate than to chop down a tree.
I suppose so. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Miller.
So sorry, I didn't hear you knock. Please join us.
We decline your invitation and extend one of our own. Utok would like to talk to you.
Tonight?
Tonight.
Why the escort?
Just to make sure you arrive safely. Stand up, please. Come.
How much further?
We are there.
Well, at least take this thing off. I've tripped over every creeper in the jungle. What the... I like a man with a sense of humor.
You thought Utok was going to shoot you?
Blindfolds and firing squads usually come into one package.
Just a simple precaution. We like British Eastern. We admire them. We respect them. But we do not trust them. The winds of experience can sometimes change direction. So that more go back to the city.
I couldn't find my way out of here with 6 Boy Scouts and a team of tracker dogs. To me, one tree looks just like another. It's a nice place you have here. Well ventilated.
A shrine to Shiva, laid waste by the sentries, mutilated by a direct hit from a mortar bomb. But say, we have business to discuss.
Oh, yes, the last arms delivery.
Excellent. This beauty and 25 of his brothers.
I'm glad you're satisfied.
An offering to Shiva, the one they call the Destroyer. You are familiar with Hindu mythology? Out of creation comes destruction, from death comes life. But one must precede the other. I must have more arms, bigger and better arms.
Well, these things are pretty hard to come by.
I know. That's why I'm dealing with you personally. The armies are cowering in the city. The jungles are mine. I must move against the city before the raids come. I want mortars, anti-tank guns, heavy machine guns.
Why don't you throw in a couple of bombers while you're at it?
Yes, bombers. But I am not joking, my friend. Barton promised me unlimited support.
Burton's dead.
I know. But the agreement with the company is not mining rights for arms, bees, or dollars.
Oh, yes, about the dollars.
Don't worry. Our contacts are working. Tell me, why do you charge so much for something that is to your own advantage?
Oh, well, it's something to do with bookkeeping. We have a very keen accountant.
Now, I will tell you what we require. You can tell me when to expect them. The Van Niekerk girl will be in touch.
Well, my pleasure. And no offense to your other friends, but she's prettier than there.
But more reliable. The Eurasians, it is hard to tell where their loyalties lie. She inherited a plantation of country. When the government took over the European estates, they said she was European. So she is against the government.
And you're going to put matters right?
She thinks I will, which amounts to the same thing. Now, the weapons...
Before you make out your shopping list, have you figured out how we're going to bring them in?
In the usual manner, with the mining equipment.
I had trouble concentrating on what Utok was saying. He thought the guns had come in with the last mining shipment. I knew they hadn't. Somebody was fooling everybody. I said the ammunition clip to stop and hoped he could supply the answers before I was due to supply the guns.
Mining equipment was shipped from?
I've got it here, sir. 1 from Osaka and 2 from Yokohama.
Japan. That's where the bullets were made. See what we've got in Tokyo.
Ah, my good friend, Sir Admiral. If you've come for the battle, you're too late. But then you always are, aren't you, peace-loving Sir Admiral?
I've been down at the docks.
A good place to be, no fighting there.
I have something to tell you about those guns.
There's no need to tell us about those beauties. The blood is still wet. An army convoy, 6 trucks, and an armored car.
Did you know those guns were not brought in with the mining equipment?
Of course they were.
I heard a rumor, so I made inquiries. The police searched every crate for British Eastern. There were no guns.
And how did they get here? Miller said they would come in by ship. No, he did not. He did not say anything. Are you sure?
Of course, I'm sure. I may not be a fighting man, but my
Be
gun...
quiet! I want you to take a message to the girl.
Oh, hello.
Hello?
Would you join me?
Thank you.
Drink?
Scotch, please.
2 whiskeys, please.
Utok would like some definite answers.
Patience isn't his main virtue.
He has arrangements to make.
Well, I've been in touch with my people. They'll let me know.
Just don't leave it too long.
You can't wait to get the main bout started.
It's a means to an end.
And the means don't bother you?
No? Why should they?
No reason. Some women would be squeamish. Thank you. I see our friends did a neat job on that army convoy.
Soldiers must expect to get killed.
Your health. Tell me, how does he keep his war chest topped up?
The merchants, the planters, the outlying villages, they all contribute.
Voluntarily?
Sometimes.
But if they don't? I get it. Civilians must also expect to be killed.
It's none of my business.
No?
Are you bringing the new consignment in by the usual route?
I suppose so. Why?
I just thought the authorities might be getting suspicious.
Not suspicious about a load of mining equipment. I watched the last lot being unshipped. Port officials didn't give it a second glance.
Didn't they?
No. What's the matter? Something wrong?
No. No, nothing wrong. Excuse me, I'm late. I have an appointment.
But something was wrong. Sarah had asked me a question and she hadn't liked the answer. I sat for a while trying to work it out. Stock's phone call came as a surprise.
We're through now, sir. Somebody's going to fetch him.
Hello? Mr. Miller? I'm calling on behalf of Mining Supplies Limited. Yes. Well, since your inquiry was urgent, I thought I'd phone rather than cable. Yeah, those spare parts you were asking about, they're very old models. Made in 1942, to be precise. Yes. They were manufactured by a Japanese firm. They had a representative in Ceylon at that time. I believe you know him.
Stock's message was plain enough. The bullets were Japanese and Toyota had been stationed in Ceylon. There was no need to smuggle the arms in. They were there already.
I do not say anything funny to laugh at. If the girl is telling the truth, then Miller is not what he seems. Tell him again.
He said he watched the crates being unloaded from the ship.
All right, I believe you. It merely confirms what I have suspected for the past 2 days. I held back until I was sure. Now I am sure. All this time we have been buying what was there for the taking.
I do not understand.
If you had fought against the Japanese army as I did, you would. I remember certain places and their uses. 6 men should be enough. 6 men. And you? It is time you spilled a little blood.
Not a drop is sold till it's 17 years old. If you're going to hit me with that thing, you're holding it the wrong way round. Oh, I had a look at the others on the way up. They're solid with grease and unloaded.
You're too observant, Mr. Miller.
Also pretty good at guessing. I'd say this place was used as a bomb-proof arsenal during the war.
I was in command of this depot. They had to blow the tunnels in during a retreat, but there was no time to move the arms.
Well, that wouldn't improve the merchandise. No wonder the customers complained. How did the business operate?
I heard the mines were reopening, and I came to Burton with a proposition. He jumped at the chance of paying back the British Eastern. We paid the miners well for their help and for their silence. And when we'd uncovered enough arms, we transferred them to the company crates and sold them to the rebels. Unfortunately, Mr. Burton's nerves were weak. He had to be removed.
Oh, well, yours don't seem any too strong. Dynamite. You shutting up shop?
I have an instinct of knowing when to stop. Perhaps it has failed me this time, or can I interest you in Mr. Burton's share of the money?
Maybe. Just tell me one thing. Why did you transfer the arms to British Eastern crates and time their delivery to coincide with the mining equipment?
A conjuring trick, Mr. Miller. It was necessary to make it look as if the arms were being smuggled in. If Woodhawk knew they were here, he would have just helped himself.
And he will, my friend. He will.
Woodhawk! I hope you will always consider my services to your cause.
Yes. The generous, expensive services. I know about you. I don't care about you. But him, this one, I do not know about. He has a tale to tell, and he will tell it later. Take him to the bungalow.
Things are not what they seem. You must understand my position. It was Burton's idea. He would have had me killed if I'd spoken. The money, most of that went to the rebels to keep them quiet. You do understand?
You spoke to Woodhawk? You said something?
I've always had the greatest sympathy for your cause.
Good. We shall move some of this stuff out tonight. Send the others in. Oh, and take our dedicated friend here outside. He needs some fresh air.
Does our hygienic friend speak English?
No.
Good. Then you're going to get me out of this.
What makes you think so?
The look on your face. You don't like this situation any more than I do. It's a little different from passing messages across a barroom table. Just a little different. You're going to watch a killing, and I don't suppose the preliminaries will be any too pleasant.
I'm not listening.
You're listening. When Utok clears that arsenal, you'll be well enough armed to bury the government forces.
I have no love for the government.
Then try and find some for your country. Good afternoon. When men like Utok win, everyone else loses. Political arrests, mass executions, dictators and vampires living on other people's plasma.
I made a deal with him.
But did he make a deal with you?
I have always looked upon you people as my friends. I got you arms. Without me, you could not have fought. They're done. After them, you. Let me speak to you, Doc. Please, please, please. I'm his friend. Please.
Thanks. I'll do the same for you sometime. There's a car outside.
It will take many weeks to dig them out. That is, if Utok is in there.
In the meantime, you'll just have to take my word for it.
I'd like to know whose word I'm taking.
Well, as one policeman to another, I'll show you my credentials at the hotel. I'll buy a drink, too.
I had lunch with Sir Charles. Very good lunch, too. All is sweetness and light with the Ceylonese government.
How do they rate British Eastern?
Oh, highly. The air is thick with big words like integrity and moral rectitude. Undying friendship is being sworn on all sides. Your early reports mentioned a girl, the rebel contact, Sarah Van Niekerk. Her name doesn't appear in your final report.
Oh, well, she dropped out of sight, left the country, maybe.
Can I have your papers back, please, Tony?
Oh, yes.
Passport, authorization, medical certificates. What was she like?
Who?
The girl.
Oh, she was hardly a girl. Wasn't my type, really. She was about 60, stood about 6'3", weighed about 15.5 stone. Built like a lady wrestler.
And tattooed on both forearms, no doubt.
Yes, she was. You're a liar.
Oh, you'll have to go. Now, bring me the file on this case, will you, and I'll just write amen on it.